We're going to be fabricating an anterior elbow orthosis. We're first going to start by making the pattern. So you can draw out the pattern, but we're going to be measuring, which can be easier. So you're going to start just distal to the axilla and then go to the cubital fossa. So we're about 6 inches there. And then starting again at the cubital fossa and then go just proximal to the wrist. That's about 6 inches there as well. And then as for width of the orthosis, you want to go about half the width of the circumference of the arm. So here's our pattern once on the material. So total length of my orthosis was about 12 inches. So that is my length. As for the width, I eyeballed it, but you can measure it if you want to. And then I tapered mine down just to follow the size of the arm as it goes distally. Once the material is ready, you can begin fabrication. You are going to position the patient in sitting with their elbow in about 20 to 30 degrees of flexion and the forearm in neutral. You're going to place the material on the anterior aspect of the arm. And then we're going just proximal to the wrist and just distal to the axilla. And just make sure you get a good mold throughout the arm and on the anterior elbow. Once the material has cooled, you can mark it for trimming. So just make sure you don't have it too far distal on the forearm. I might trim that off just a little bit. And then you want about half the width of the arm, and we are good on that. And then also make sure it doesn't go too far proximal because it can cause irritation in the axilla. This is the orthosis after trimming. So again, I trimmed on the distal end and then I rounded my corners and smoothed my edges. As for Velcro placement, I did 2 on the upper arm, 2 on the forearm, but you can do whichever fits your patient's needs. You can always do 1 on the upper arm, 2 on the distal arm, again, whichever you prefer. So here's the final product of the anterior elbow orthosis. So we're going to have 2 straps on the forearm and then 2 on the upper arm. And as for the width of the straps, I did a wider strap on the distal end and the proximal end and then thinner straps on the middle. But you are welcome to mix and match those or use whichever straps fit your patient's needs. Final things to check for, you want to make sure the elbow is in about 20 to 30 degrees of flexion, the forearm in neutral, and make sure there is no irritation on the ulnar head or axilla.